Hello students, this is my 6th lecture on microelectronics technology. Up to my last lecture, I have told you about 4 different steps of the IC fabrication process. Here are the steps of the IC fabrication process which we have to carry out to fabricate the circuit we have considered, or in general also in monolithic IC form by bipolar technology by planar processes. In my last lecture, I described the photolithographic technique. Today, I will tell you about the remaining 5 steps of the IC fabrication process. This is step 5, isolation diffusion. Here you can see 3 different steps which we have to carry out to make the isolation islands. See the first step. First, the silicon dioxide layer is removed from the desired areas. 4 selected portions for the particular circuit. That is the circuit we have considered to be fabricated in the monolithic form. From the wafer surface, that is silicon dioxide layer is the topmost layer, and we have to selectively remove the silicon dioxide layer to input the impurity atoms of p-type. From the wafer surface, SiO2 layers are removed by applying photolithographic etching process. As I already discussed the photolithographic etching process in my previous lectures, so I hope you now have an idea about the photolithographic etching process. How do we make silicon dioxide layers to be removed by the etching process and to make the openings or windows in order to diffuse impurity atoms. The remaining silicon dioxide layer serves as a mask that is screened off the other regions from impurity atoms. You can see the first point here. That is the remaining layer where we have not made any opening, that will serve as a mask. Mask means that as a screen that will screen off the other regions from the impurity atoms, because we have to input the impurity atoms in a selective manner. We don't want to input the impurity atoms everywhere. So it is to be done selectively. See the second point, the isolation diffusion, that is the formation of N-type isolated regions, is carried out at a suitably high temperature and appropriate time period by allowing P-type impurities like boron. You know, when we have to make P-type semiconductors, what we do? We use trivalent impurities whenever we are to make P-type silicon. Now we have to allow these P-type impurities like boron to penetrate into the N-type epitaxial layer through the selective windows in the silicon dioxide layer. That is the windows or the openings we have made by using photolithographic etching process, thus forming the N-type isolation regions, also called isolation islands. I will show you in my next slide in figure A, which isolate, that is those regions will separate the P plus regions. See point 3, the bottom of the N-type isolation regions forms the collector of the NPN transistor. I have shown you the circuit which we want to fabricate in the monolithic IC form, and that circuit was consisted of an NPN transistor, 2 PN junction diodes and a resistor. And so, according to point 3, the bottom of the N-type isolation islands will form the collector of the NPN transistor. As you know, a transistor has 3 different terminals: collector, base, emitter. So by these processes we are trying to make different terminals of the transistor. Up to this we obtain the collector terminal of the transistor. Please note here, the p-type substrate is always kept negative with respect to the isolation islands, which provides the reverse bias for the PN junction. When we connect the negative terminal of a power supply or a voltage source with the p-type semiconductor, here the substrate, then it actually makes the PN junction reverse bias. And under the reverse bias condition, there will be a minimum current flow. That is, that PN junctions will not be conducting. This is to be done so that there will be no conducting PN junctions. Here you can see the figure A after isolation diffusion. You can see the P plus regions in between the N-type regions, and those N-type regions are separating the P plus regions. Thus N-type regions are isolation islands, and the silicon dioxide layer above those N-type regions are acting as a mask, that is screening off these N-type regions from impurity diffusion. Here you can also see 2 adjoining P plus isolation regions are connected to the P-type substrate by a barrier capacitance or transition capacitance. This is called parasitic capacitance, and due to this, the overall performance of the IC will be hampered. Now, this parasitic capacitance has 2 components, C1 and C2. You can also see in the figure A. C1 is a capacitance from the bottom of the N-type region, that is the isolation islands, to the P-type substrate in between these 2 layers, and C2 capacitance from the side walls of the isolation regions. You can see it is already marked in the figure, the side walls of the isolation regions to the P region. Okay, so this is the capacitance between these 2 regions. So all these processes are very crucial, and the capacitances play a very vital role in deciding the overall performance of the IC to some extent. Base diffusion. This is the step 6 for the IC fabrication process. In this process, firstly, we have to grow C.1, the first point, the first step of base diffusion. A new thin silicon dioxide layer is grown on the surface of the wafer. That is, at every step we have to grow a silicon dioxide layer, and we have to carry out photolithographic etching to make the windows selectively. Now, a new patterned mask is used to create openings or windows depending on the circuit requirement by photolithographic etching process. Through these windows, P-type impurities like boron is diffused. Here also we have to diffuse like the last step, that is isolation diffusion. Here also we have to diffuse P-type impurities like boron, okay, in order to make the base of the transistor. This forms the base of the NPN transistor and as well as the resistor, because I hope you remember the circuit was consisted of a resistor also and two PN junction diodes. Thus this P region will also form the anode of the PN junction diode and a junction capacitor. So the last point, the diffusion of p-type impurities is carried out in a controlled manner, because you should understand all these processes we are carrying out are actually carried out in a highly pure and in a controlled manner. All these are experimental steps and all these are carried out in sophisticated labs so that the impurities do not reach the substrate. We have to diffuse the p-type impurities to create the base regions, and these impurities should not reach the substrate. The resistivity of the base layer is much higher than that of the isolation regions. As you know, generally the thickness of the base layer of a discrete transistor also is kept thin, and the doping concentration of the base layer is kept low. That is, here also the resistivity of the base layer is kept high, okay, because it is comparatively low dope than the emitter and collector regions. This is the figure where you can see the wafer after base diffusion. That is, the p-type regions are formed by diffusing boron into the n-type isolation islands. You can see from the right side the base of the transistor is formed. Then p-type region also forms the anode of the PN junction diode. Then at the leftmost part, the resistor is also formed by the p-type region. I suggest you to draw this picture on your copy. Step 7. Emitter diffusion. In this step again, we have to grow a new layer of silicon dioxide on the wafer surface, and selective openings or windows are made above the p-type regions by the photolithographic etching process, which I have already discussed in the previous steps. The n-type impurities, I hope you know, we have to diffuse pentavalent impurities in order to make n-type silicon. So, the n-type impurities like phosphorus are diffused through the openings under controlled environment to form transistors emitter region, the cathode of the diodes and a junction capacitor. So all these are formed by diffusing n-type impurities. See the third point, apart from this, two additional openings or windows are also made above the n-type regions to establish the metal contacts, because the metallization will be the last step, almost the last step. After metallization we have to just do the scribing and mounting. It is the IC fabrication process, almost last step is metallization. For this part or in the metallization process, which I will discuss in the upcoming slides, we have to make the metal contacts. For this purpose, here two additional windows are made by the photolithographic etching process. This is the figure after emitter diffusion process. Here in this figure you can see that the N-type emitter regions are diffused within the isolation islands and the P-type base region. See the black colored regions in the figure. These are the N plus regions diffused in the last step. Step 8. Metallization. To make electrical interconnections between the components of the grown IC, several windows are made on a newly grown SiO2 layer. Okay. In this case, in this step also, we have to again grow a thin silicon dioxide layer on the wafer surface, and we have to again make selective windows by applying photolithographic etching process to establish the metal contacts, because after making the whole structure we have to make metal leads. We have to connect the IC with the metal leads so that we can use it in our labs for different experiments. So for this, the first step is we have to grow the silicon dioxide layer on the wafer surface. Then a thin layer, after the formation of the selective windows, a thin layer of aluminium is deposited on the wafer surface by vacuum evaporation technique. Because the aluminium metal is available to us in a solid form, we have to melt it at a high temperature in a highly pure environment, and for this purpose we have to use vacuum evaporation technique at a low pressure. We carry out this metallization process. The metal at unwanted areas are removed by etching. See the last point. The structure then provides the connected strips of ICs to which leads are to be connected in the next step, that is the scribing and mounting step. We carry out the IC fabrication in industries or in highly sophisticated labs where not a single IC is made. ICs are made in a cost effective manner to save the cost or to reduce the expense to make the ICs. We actually fabricate the ICs in a batch, that is a number of ICs are made at a time. So a strip of ICs are made and all the ICs are individual ICs are cut out. That will be described in the next step. Okay. After metallization, that is, it is the view that we see, it is the front view, the side view, that where we can see the metal contacts. The black regions are the aluminium metallization, that is metal contacts, and you can see the silicon dioxide layer, and this metal contacts you can see the terminals. I have told you initially that for the particular circuit we have considered, we have to make out 5 terminals. Here also in this case you can see the IC is consisted of 5 terminals. Terminal 1 is the anode of the diode, PN junction diodes. Terminal 2 is the resistor. Terminal 3 is the base of the transistor. Terminal 4 is the collector of the transistor. Terminal 5 is the emitter of the transistor. I suggest you to draw this picture on your copy. Step 9. Scribing and mounting. After metallization, the wafer is scribed with a diamond tipped tool and separated into individual chips. As I already told you that ICs are fabricated in batch, that is a number of ICs are fabricated together as strips. So we have to separate individual chips by using diamond tipped tool. Okay. So the second point, each chip is then mounted on a ceramic wafer and attached to a suitable header. As you can see, the ICs commercially available in the market. Okay. Then the package leads are connected to the IC chip. This is done by metal bonding, because after everything, after packaging, we have the pins that you see externally, we have to connect those pins with the internal leads of the chip. For this we use metal bonding, and this metal bonding is done by using very thin aluminium or gold wires to connect the terminal points on the chip with the package leads. Thus, finally we obtain the IC, monolithic IC form of the circuit we have considered. So I hope you understood all the points, all the steps of the IC fabrication of the circuit we have considered. I will suggest you to draw all the step-by-step pictures on your copy, and also try to write down the steps on your copy if you want to make discrete transistor or discrete PN junction diode or discrete resistor or discrete capacitor in IC form. Okay, thank you.